Ooh, woo, cuckoo, kachoo. Hello, I'm Carl, the most hated man in World 25, allegedly. And I'm here to tell you how to try to play once human at the maximization tier. For reference, I am not a CB1 player, not an open beta player. I'm simply learning as I'm going along. And every single bit of information I have resourced gathered before I was unjustly attacked from both my own research, my essential information gathering from others, as well as additional information that was gathered inside of the World to 10025 Discord, created by Thick Ass, but in game spelled thick with two H's. If you have no understanding of this information and would like to ask for further information, you can be able to do so by this guide being posted inside of the tips and guides section of the 125 server, or going to my Discord server or to my personal streams. I usually stream at least 6 to 16 hours a day playing the game. Let's dive right in. When dealing with resource farming and resource gathering of any particular variant, group, and type, there are a couple of problems you're going to have. Namely, the most common thing, of which I have multiple stations for. Acid. I technically have another one here if I have enough power for it. Acid is probably the number one problem. For this recipe here, for acid generation takes 8.5 hours on any type of particular bench. I believe I've been told that the advanced benches are able to do 2 at once, which is a little bit of a better gain, but if you are just simply working off of this, simulated for an early build for those of us that either do not have it, or do not want to have that power drain on the power grid, you can be able to successfully do so by having multiple benches that are crafting 99 points of acid. 99 points of acid will require 5 sulfur, and when it switches over, 50 energy links in total. In totality, that is 5 points down of a half a stack, a main stack of acid from sulfur is 1,000. 1 stack of 1,000 sulfur, 495 of that sulfur on a craft. And then, from your energy links, that is the currency of the game that you use not only to level, but also to buy and purchase, which is obtainable through other means as well, but basically you will get this as you play the game if you do not have a money-based resource perk. If you do not, you can always be able to sell your excess resources. Side tangent. Will cost you 4,950, so basically nearly 500 sulfur and, simplification purposes, 5k energy links across every craft. So this is, along with what is on top of Carl's mobile. Can't look at the Carl's mobile right now, but we will check it out in the middle of this guide. This is the best quote you can do for passive generation. But of course, 8.5 hours is a very long time. For me, that's an entirely length of a generalized live stream. But, in the general sense, what am I being discussed? So I'm being shit talked about. That's fun. Anyways. This is the passive generation you have to work with. This is the shit that you have to have. Throughout all this, in all your power supply, if you would like to have this kind of generation, you're going to need to put your system on a wiring system. Now this particular system was worked together between myself and Friend, who you also see defending me there in the chat room. You're going to need to use this for this capacity because these benches take a lot of power. To be exact, on facilities, it is 6 watts per each. So there is currently 7 stations, 7 times 6 is what you're looking at. This is not going to be concurrent for everyone, but to replicate my results, you would need to have Sparksmiths. This is a specialization that exists inside of your menu. Going to Memetics Cradle, and then to Memetics inside of Specialization. Sparksmith, because of specializations rolling random for each of the slots when you have a chance to pull a new specialization, you get a solar generator output of 10 additional watts. On the advanced generators themselves, the advanced generators produce 30 flat, and because it produces 30 flat, you will have a potential of 30 to work with. It can be increased by having eels but you will have that much power to pull off of if you use at least 3. From the mimetics table inside of your production crafting. From your production crafting. Later down the line of, it should be, crap, no, it's probably going to be building. It's not building, it's something else. I want to say building and crafting. It's not here, then it's logistics. In logistics, you will be given the ability to have maximum personal territory generators by 1, and then unlocking your biomass generator, which will be your first means of accessing a 25-watt creativity, which then can then be replaced by the advanced biomass for 30. Advanced solar is down here as well as advanced hydraulic generator, and then of course here inside of power upgrade 2, you'll then have the ability to get an additional +1, and then unlock the deviant energy generator. The deviant energy generator on its generation is quite literally, here in power, is quite literally the best power you can be able to generate in the game. 35 watts versus a unsparked smith solar generator being 20, and then hydraulics being 25, requires water, and hydraulic generator advanced, requiring water for 30 as well, and then biomass generator being 30 as well. This basically requires foodstuff and items to be packed into it, simple to use. This just requires having access to the light, simple to use. This requires having access to water, relatively simple to use as long as you can build the base around it. When you have to do transitions and you need to move your place from place to place to gather resources, this is going to be the probably biggest thing that you have to deal with, because you have to solve for that energy crisis. And then of course, deviation energy being the best, basically being ambient energy. You do not have to pack anything into it. You just have to be inside of what is called a pollution zone. Carl, don't fall down. In a pollution zone, when you manage this generator, it will produce the energy as long as it pulls in the ambient stardust matter to then give you electrical energy. So, in this game, there are places called pollution zones. You might notice that number on the back of my backpack and how it's steadily climbing as I move towards this. Because I'm wearing higher level gear, this is not turning red like it would if you didn't have enough coverage. The sheer problem of the fact of the matter is that when you're inside of these generation zones, your pumps will produce water and polluted water. This is less relevant, but this is actually relevant to the power supply. I'll probably have to go check the tank for it. To check the tanks. One second. Anyways, when you check the tanks and you look, you will be producing impure acid and water, but more importantly, for the power draw, if you want to have the most maximized passive system that you could potentially make, you will need to have the deviant energy. The best that you can be able to get by if you want to standardize this is to have biomass. This, of course, is not the end-all be-all, and this is just passive generation. There's, of course, also barrels, which to show you the barrels, I'm going to need to travel to where I left my station, and I left my station all the way over here at Blockveld. This is another thing that you can be able to have. You can have mobile territories and be able to teleport to them by parking them at a settlement and then leaving them parked for existent purposes. Besides this, when you have these resources, this way, to the door, when you have these resources, and you do these resources, you will have the ability to park the stuff, specifically here, to do barrel generation, and barrel generation is even slower than that. It is 2-to-1 ratio, requiring the impure acid I just showed you, and with impure acid and pure water, you put them into your barrels. If I can look at my object, you put them into your barrels. Come on. Probably have to move this a little closer to the stairs. Not like that. You pump them into your barrels. Lord have mercy. Christ have mercy. There we go. You pump them into your barrels, and for the 2-to-1 ratio, for input-output, you produce that much acid. Unfortunately, because you're producing that much acid, words are hard. When you produce that much acid and that much power, you're using 10 watts on each. This is why, for those of us who have Sparksmith and are willing to do local traveling, you are basically going to be stuck to this ratio no matter what you do. The extra wattage does matter for travel purposes if you're going to have a mobile base. But the problem with having a mobile territory base is that even though you can be able to park it wherever you want and have it for convenience use, should you have reasons to use it, you effectively have to work around that wattage issue and be held to the mercy of exactly that resource burn. It can suck, it does suck, and it feels like a travesty because you are at the mercy of your own crafting speed, and you're at the mercy of the regular speed of the game. I have to move the truck if I want to replace that. But more or less, that is the capacities for which you have to make things and have to work with things. It's not easy. It is very slow. So, let's explain how to speed this up. To speed up this creativity process, the best thing that you're going to want to work towards is you're going to need to have an active system and a passive system. I'm going to show you some of the active ways that you can gain it. The number one, first and foremost, most important thing that you need if you're going to have acid generation is you're going to need food and you're going to need friends. That's the 2 F's, food and friends. Why you can't, Carl? I'm going to show you over here inside of your food. When you finally get to the purple tier, the first food you're going to want to work on receiving and having, preserved deviated chops. You're going to need meat for this. Deer meat, beast meat, pork meat, rabbit meat, ghost meat, bear meat, crocodile meat, snap and turtle meat, peppercorn, salt. 100 energy. And from this 100 energy, I even have one still on me, correct? From this 100 energy, Hunter's Luck, used to increase acid gain by 50% when defeating deviants. This is normal enemies. When defeating the normal enemies, you will need to go to these things called workshop facilities. In these workshop facilities, you will do a defense mission for 5 minutes. You'll have prep time of about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. It will reward you starter source, cortexes of any variety, and barrel premium. You can do them on cooldown. They are very simple to handle. They do not require much resource. You will have to bring building materials in order to block them off. Wood and gravel is the minimum that you have to bring. If you want to bring turrets, you're going to have to bring electronic parts, but they have a minimum amount of acid that they reward, anywhere between 40 for the lowest numbers to, I don't know, for the highest numbers, because I have not tried them yet, because I have not done a deep in-depth guide. Regardless, this is one active way to get it, because on top of the hard cap reward of the acid, the enemies that you will be fighting will also be dropping acid in the area. By using this jerky and just simply roaming the map, going through areas and doing what I call stronghold patrols, you start from your base, you go someplace and teleport to a location that you'd like to fight. Doesn't matter if it's level 1 to level 5. This is repeatable across all areas. You go to those areas, you fight those enemies, you deal with those problems, you do that shit, and you do that stuff on that capacity, on that variety. Repeat it on cooldown. Pop your potions, technically food. Pop your pills, pop your stems, pop your whims, do the shit. 30 minutes maximum is the ratio for which the buffs work. I will pop one for you here for demonstration purposes. 1800 seconds is 30 minutes. 30 minutes, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. The other means of gaining acid are a little bit more contemptuous and a little bit more annoying. However, they do exist, so if you want to go about this method of doing it, while I highly suggest not doing it as a matter of resource drain, It is the most capable thing that you can do if all you literally want is the acid in your hand. When you go to any facility and any home camp, that being an actual NPC territory controlled location with a teleport tower, strongholds in their own right, which have safe zones, there is Nisa, the jellyfish head girl, and she, for the cost of sproutlets, will sell you acid without a cooldown. 2 acid, or rather 1 acid, for 2 sproutlets. This is very costly. You only need to use this if you have nothing else to spend these sproutlets on. If you have not tried out Cargo Scramble, it is the only PvP activity in the game that exists. You should do it, not only because fun, and getting out that pent-up rage that you have against other players by head-capping them and shitting on them in the match. You gain access to freely buying weapon mods. The legendary weapon mods are not a joke. They are not to be slept on. They are not to be ignored. 1,000 a pop. You get a season limitation of 1. You can attempt to find what you're looking for and secure it if you do not have it. If you have not done this, I suggest doing this. For your build of choice, you can be able to get and secure what you need. Same thing with controllers for getting Rift Energy completions and being able to maximize your rewards from these activities. Then, the other means is simply trading players actively for the links and trying to earn money while you do so. And the other means of acid generation, if I can remember. No, I remember. Warbands, United, Shop. Inside of your warbands, there is a warband fund. To gain warband funds, you need to donate things of this tier to the warband. It will take the item, it will do the stuff, and it will give you that many points and trade for that much material. For passive players, if you have been finding silver ore and you cannot create it into ingots to sell it, you can donate it here. If you have excess resources, I would suggest you giving the highest resource you can. You sell it here. You need a minimum of excuse me. You need a minimum of 450 to buy out the weekly controllers from the warbands. This is also another place for you to be able to get acid, though this one is in trade for starter source. It does not have a limit. It is 10 for every 1 acid. Now, I can do an active demonstration for you, which I will try to. When going through zones, and you are dealing with the power that you wish to have for them, and the energy that you wish to do for them, you're going to want to go to the highest zone that you can, possibly, because that will control the amount of damage that you have, the amount of damage that you do, the amount of resources you gain, blase, 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 blase. For this example, I will go to Blackfell, and we will just roam around the area, and as I talk and yap, I can allow you to see this sheer generation of what you're gaining as you're attacking. The other ways to actively gain acid, outside of trading it from other players, is going to be fighting deviants in the field when you patrol. It is quite quintessentially the only best #1 way for you to do so. It is going to be faster. You're going to be gaining experience while you do so. While gaining experience, you will also be able to help yourself to the spoils that come from the area. You will then be able to trade for the passive generation of resources, and blase, 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 and blase, blase, blase. I'll give you a sample of what that looks like. Let's hope there's a deviant in this building. I'll give you a sample of what that looks like when you move through the area and you find people to pop and things to kill. You're going to be hunting deviants and looking for storage containers and gear and weapon crates, because they also have a chance of spawning with acid. There's also things like Hale's Moving House, the weekly event where you basically get the ability and the opportunity to find, passing by all these interactables, where you have the ability to find resources the same way you do here. You also have the chance, when you're looting these, to find formulas, These formulas can usually be broken down for acid and traded for acid as well, should you have the materials to do so. Most of this is going to be from player interaction, not just bar interaction, but I'm going to try to keep it simple to bar interactions as well as killing enemies. Seems that we are on the dead zone of spawns here. Alright, here we go. See spotlight in the distance. Just as simple as 1, 2, pop your head. There's not a necessary mandatory loadout that you need to have for this. None of that matters. Literally none of that matters. You find deviants, you shoot them in the head. In head or weak spot. Or melee to the death. They also did not have any. See here that you have the weapon crate. Open the weapon crate. See here that it gives you energy links, mod parts, mods to work with, the engineering crystal of the type, ammunition, steroids. These are things that you're going to want to have. Storage crates. Got unlucky on that spawn. Pick up more of these. If we're lucky, we can be able to find a cargo, but I doubt it. There we go. So, when an enemy has an acid drop, or any kind of item drop for you to grab, it will drop its crystal. Bob's your uncle. There's your acid. 8 acid. We literally got the outfit cost of a barrel in 1 kill. There's another one. 6 acid. So, as you do this, as you just simply go through the areas and play the game, your number one focus is going to be hitting every building you can, finding as many objects as you can, killing as many enemies as you can, because of course, that's experience. There's also a buff for increasing your experience, by the by, but you cannot stack certain buffs with each other. You can have at maximum a hunger buff and a hydration buff, as well as many whims as you want. That is that number that you see over my sanity bar. I will show it to you right now. It shows you my Power Surge Rampage. It shows you my Covered Advance for my passive bonus. It shows you my, down here, it shows you my Whims, Claw Armor, and Spring Legs. Claw Armor is extremely easy. We all get the DV that will give this. Anybody can have this. This also definitely does work during Cargo Scramble. Also, energy, and then by looking at this here, it shows you the buff in question that it came from. You see that it's the preserve deviated chops, and it's running the timer for that time. When you're going through this, the number one thing you're going to be looking for is elites. That is a Star Walker, also known as the aerial bombing platform. These things are not jokes. They are very annoying to fight. They are extremely painful. Deviant out in the field. Land real quick. Then you see yourselves a blue crystal, and acid, plus energy links, plus materials, plus Eclipse Cortexes. There is, in fact, a map that I will show to you that is useful for finding these particular enemies. They can be found in various places in the world, but some of them are different compared to others. Through a lot of the 45 zones, there's going to be a little bit more of a cluster of them. And in those clusters, when dealing with them, and going to weapon points, you'll be able to gain this asset passively or actively, as you please. So, if you wanted to maximize your gains, still didn't pull acid on this one. So if you want to maximize your gains and also increase the rate at which you are getting recovery parts that can be salvaged from weapons to craft, you just simply do this on cooldown as much as you can, as often as you can. Every moment that you are not doing an active activity or behavior. Hoping that we can be able to get jackpot from one of these enemies, but it's likely that we won't. So, see if I can find ourselves another elite, and we will call the guy there. Got ourselves another gear crate. Did not pull this time again. But there's Blackfell Refinery. So that is basically acid generation right there. That's a guaranteed drop as long as you complete that event. You can find those actively in any particular storage crate in any area. It can be in a storage crate, it can be in a weapon crate, it can be in a gear crate. It can be off of an elite kill. Cycle the area, you will find them. It's actually very good that we found that there. And around the corner, we have ourselves another Starwalker. Every enemy unkilled is another piece of acid you don't gain. So far, we're now at 52. Starwalker from the distance. I think not, sir. Starwalker. 7 acid. And look at that! Key item. Tier 5 cans. Oh, and then another one around the corner. Well, what? No mind if I do! Storage crate. Items. Preferably, I'd like to get on the top of this building and cook this man if possible. And begin cooking. Said. That's a missile. Green head glowing. Pop it. We'll then have time. Then his orange head will glow. Pop it. And man's cooked. And then disinfectant, energy links, cortex. This on cooldown. Everywhere you can, anywhere you can, at all times that you can, as much as you can. This will be your means of active and passive generation. You cannot use one method. I will say this again with gusto. You cannot lock yourself in to one method. If you're gonna farm the farm, you're gonna walk the zones, every single one of these permits that you have here for Blackfell permit extraction, they are all money. They are money. You want them, you need them. They are money. Don't treat them like they're not money. Look for them, go for them, find them, pull them. I'm 0 for 5 on fucking 5 crates, but hey, platinum crystal's platinum crystal. Continue throwing through the zone. I'm pretty sure I can't close this because I'm not actually at level 5 quests yet. And this is just what you do. You walk the map. You walk the map. I stream live 6 to 16 hours every single day. Since today is Friday, it's probably going to be more like a 6-hour stream. This. All the time. Acid generation, 88. Basically, just got like an hour and a few minutes from the passive generation of a crate. And you're doing this the entire time that you're counting down the timer on your acid creation on your synthesis benches, if that is what you wish to choose to do. This the entire time. On repeat. You literally cannot beat this. Follow this method, follow this guide, and you will be able to do your best, and you'll be able to do your stuff. Period. Period. There's nothing better. Period. I've already crunched the numbers. Plenty of other people have already crunched the numbers. There's also a resource by the name of Duapa. You can be able to find it inside of the Discord. This is what you do. But, to round this out, let me finish my yap by showing you what we passively created while I was offline, finally getting some Z's. Teleport back to our territory.
The CEO has to be able to afford their second, fourth, and or maybe fifth yacht.
Doot. I'm still in the
Hello,
middle of
Carl.
recording. Yeah, hello.
Did you read the chat? Live
I
to
know,
Hope wants to
no.
talk to you at my base.
Who?
Live to Hope.
He just needs to come to the GBC. Also, give me a second. I'm rounding out the video guide right now. I'm explaining the active and passive ways to generate acid.
Okay.
So, back at the base. Let's look at what we passively gained for 8.5 hours of effort. Let's play the acid that I have on me. As we can see, clean acid. Break down the resources that we just gathered. And let's collect. Each of these is 99. And remember, 8.5 hours for this. 99. 99. You also get a little bit of acid when you break down some objects that you find in the environment. I don't remember which particular items they happen to be. Just collect a lot of stuff, and we'll talk about that in a second. And you can be able to get that done, because there is one extra thing that you can be able to do that I suggest every person get. If you do not know somebody who can craft it, you need to find somebody who can craft it. And yes, I will craft them for people. I'm actually working on crafting them together right now. So, 7 benches, 8.5 hours of passive effort. All I had to do was sleepy, 700 acid. Not accounting for the acid that we picked up in the field. That doesn't account for the acid that you basically are sitting on when you're not using your Black Hole refinery permits. You will be okay. You will collect your resources. You will be fine as long as you use these methods. If you use every method available to you and don't just focus on using one, but using on a passive and an active, this will net you money. Guaranteed. I promise you that it will. If it doesn't, I will literally give you gold, ingot, and silver so that you can come buy it from me. Or friend. Or thick ass. They need it. They need it more than I do. I don't use that much. Again, there it is. There's the money. There's the money shot. For any person who will require and need it, you will best get your help and resource from simply working together with each other, working together amongst yourselves, doing your best, trying your best, and simply going to the Once Human Server 25 Discord that is managed by Thickass and is staffed and pardoned by people like myself and friend, and the resource and the link will be found inside of tips and guides and probably resource farming here on the screen. Show you really quick what it looks like. Looks like this. Looks like this. You can be able to find this guide and other helpful tips and tricks here, between tips and guides in general, as well as if what you need is a map, as well as a specialization list to try and maximize other means and other outside norm ways that everyone has access to produce the material that you require using the DAO Alpha Once Human map. This will give you a better generated map, not only of all of the hotspots that you can look for the things that you wish to access, bring it up to you on the map right now, but it will give you literally every single resource node for things to occur on the map actively, however, wherever you need them. The map itself is very simple. Zoom into the map, look around the area that you're going for, and as you can see here, it will show you where you can find certain things. Canine Skull, Sceptrosaurus Rex, Disco Ball, Dreamcatcher, Dr. Teddy, Festering Gem, Bob the Leaper, Gingerbread House, Harvest Seed, Hugnable, Logging Beaver, Mr. Wish, Pyro Dino, Space Turner, the Space Trace Ores, the regions themselves, other things such as mobile houses, portable mixed fuse, Gus the Bus or Gary the Bus, your food materials, as well as, when you look at the map, all these different skulls, these are the pictures of elites. So, you go here, you go to these places, you access these crates, you use these resources, and this is how you're able to get everything. It is also another way for you, if you are struggling with finding things like mysterious treasures, there are video guides that break down those, as well as other things, such as, back to the game, such as, if you are struggling to find a particular resource that you need for your weapons, such as mods, specifically things that you're modifying your guns with. You can be able to go here, go to accessories, go to the tab in question, and hover over, and it will tell you what it is you're looking for. Go there inside of the map, type in that item, and you will be able to get a video guide that shows you how to get that unlock. These things are very important that are for general use when you're talking about maximizing your best rolls while moving around the zones passively. I hope this guide is helpful for everybody in question. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please drop them to me in the Once Human World 25 Discord. You can personally contact me outside of the game, inside of my Discord server, or you can be able to go to my live streams on any of the platforms where Carl and Carl accessories can be sold, and ask me questions live in the chat, and I will answer them, and you will get your answers, and get your loot, and get your acid, and blase blase blase. Everything goes around an end. I've been Carl, you've been an audience, I hope it's been a good one. Have a nice day.